I didn't write like a whole narrative for this. I just like jotted down like ideas. So this video is probably gonna suck. Welcome back, guys. I'm Rogue, and today I want to talk about EverQuest for just a bit and kind of ramble on about some of the things within the game that I really enjoy, and not necessarily, but kind of compare it to most of today's modern MMOs and why I love EverQuest so much. I don't really have like a straight direction for this video. I've just been clicking around on a few different MMOs. I'm a huge fan of the genre, and I actually play quite a few MMOs. So why is EverQuest my go-to comfort game? For starters, I think that the EQ community is by far and wide the kindest community of any MMORPG. And I'm talking about Project Quarm. This may be because the game is 25 years old, or that is the version of the game that we're playing, and most people playing are well into adulthood. I mean, how many 10-year-olds do you know that play EverQuest? EQ is not an instant gratification game. It is known for its grindy nature, and that attracts a certain type of lunatic who enjoys the slow burn of adventure and is able to drink in the small moments. EverQuest is a complex puzzle. It looks simple on the outside. You know, you make a hero and then you proceed to kill, sit, and sell, which is a driving mechanic in classic EverQuest. You know, regardless of how you slice it, you're going to kill, sit, and sell. And that very nature of the game makes it a slow progression game. And I think the community has embraced this style of gameplay. EverQuest is a community and or social MMORPG, hence all the fucking sitting. It offers time to get to know your party or the people you are adventuring with, to chat about, whatever, as you prepare to bonk the next bad guy in the area. Within this Gordian knot is also the functionality of the classes of EverQuest. Many of the classes come armed with party buffs to strengthen your group as a whole, or to enhance your own hero's combat capabilities if you happen to be playing solo. Now, I play a shaman in Classic EQ on Quarm, and it is one of, if not the primary buffing class in the game. This allows me to not only utilize my magic to enhance my own capabilities and my current party, but it affords me the ability to help other players that I'm not even grouped with, or, power level them, if you will. Not all classes have this option, but they function better when paired with a group. And I think that this very nature of the game kind of forces community gameplay. Sure, you can solo, and you can achieve great heights in classic EverQuest all on your own. There's some players out there that are the masters of their chosen class and character, but the greatest achievements in classic EQ typically require a group. Most class epic quests will at some point force you to play with others to take on Norath's greatest challenges and biggest enemies. And I think that this squishes the players into a funnel of friendship and camaraderie. Now, the argument can be made that this is also a driving force that chases players away, that EverQuest isn't solo friendly, and I can agree with that assessment. If you're a lone wolf and you hate playing with others and you just fucking hate people, then yeah, you're probably going to have a bad time. But on the edge of that coin is daring to attempt to make friends. And I'm going to be honest, I have never had an easier time making connections with other players and finding groups in a game that doesn't have a group finder or an auto dungeon finder than EverQuest on Project Quarm. I don't know. I just find the concept of this quasi-forced play an interesting topic. I mean, if you want to sell high-priced or magical items for something close to their true value, and, not to the nearest NPC vendor, you have to interact with other players and haggle for a deal. Are you required to do this? No, but you'll make a hell of a lot more coin if you engage with the community and find the right buyer for whatever dungeon trash you're looking to hawk. Now, like most MMORPGs, the ability to join or form a guild is also an option, and in my opinion will greatly improve your time on Classic EverQuest. And it usually offers more options and play groups with most, if not all, MMORPGs. But unlike, let's say, The Elder Scrolls Online, you're not encouraged to play with your guild or, build each other up as you progress. I mean, sure, you can, and that's badass if you do, but ESO does not force or encourage group play other than doing daily dungeons for extra experience and a shot at some random loot. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad mechanic to have, a group finder or auto matchmaking raids in an MMO, but they are considerably less personal than working towards a common goal as a collective guild or a party that EverQuest kind of nudges the player to participate in. Again, I just find it interesting that a 25-year-old game has more personality than most other modern MMORPGs when it comes to community. And I'm by no means saying that EverQuest is a better game than the modern MMO, but it is, in my humble opinion, leagues ahead in the spectrum of community and group play. Except for maybe like Final Fantasy XIV. I played Final Fantasy XIV for a little bit. Okay, side rant. I played Final Fantasy XIV for a little over a year, which is like a pittance when it comes to time played in an MMO. But I finished the MSQ, or main story quest, for the Realm Reborn, and I really enjoyed the forced grouping within the game. Where Final Fantasy XIV kind of fell short for me was that other than those times when I was forced to play with others to complete a dungeon quest, it felt like a fucking single player game with other players just doing their own thing in the background. I'm sure that this can be said by someone concerning their experience within EverQuest, and players are not, like rushing to the fucking newbie zone to help every person who logs in. As, with most games, you are left with a dilemma of choosing your own involvement. If you see other players in Elder Scrolls Online, for example, and you're in town, chances are you're never going to say a word to them, and they will sprint past you as they rush to complete this daily or that. In EverQuest, a simple tap of the H key can turn a bystander encounter into a possible friendship, and I think that's awesome. And I think that this crux of community concerning EverQuest appears almost in every aspect of the game. It is even present in the crafting system. Many of the trade skills or crafting in EverQuest at one point or another will rely on other trade skills. Now, in EQ, you are allowed to utilize any crafting skill that you want, and if you're that kind of fucking crazy, you can raise them all if you really want to, but you will be limited to a specialization in only one of them. The exception to this, I think, and I'm not 100% sure, is the shaman's only crafting system of alchemy. But I'm still relatively new to crafting in EQ, so I don't know all the ins and outs of the varying trade skills. But I do know that enchanted metals for jewel crafting or jewelry crafting requires an enchanter, and all of the cultural armor or armors require a specific spellcaster class to enchant the materials used in making the armor. As with everything I've said so far, you can absolutely create these classes and, as alt characters and do it yourself. But the game in its nature is designed for players to lean on each other. And I think that it's a pretty cool facet of EverQuest and why the community of EQ is as laid back and friendly as it is. This game is a complex system with a lot of moving parts that require a patient hand and time to achieve. And I think it's fascinating. I also think that the difficulty of classic EverQuest kind of lends to this topic of community. There are a lot of classes that can solo. Most of the spellcasters are known for being very capable solo classes, but even they have to pick and choose their enemies with care because they may be capable of soloing, but they can't fucking solo everything. And the baddies of Norath do not play by the same rules as us lowly players. The monsters of EverQuest hit hard, fast, and without mercy. For most classes, an even fight is a death sentence beyond the first 10 levels. You're forced to pick and choose your battles when you are caught alone in the dangerous places of EverQuest. I also know that this can be seen as a negative trait for an MMO, but I think it adds flavor and danger to the game. For example, in Diablo 4, I play a rogue. Big fucking surprise. And I glaze enemies by doing little more than occasionally tapping the A button on my Xbox controller. And yeah, mindlessly murdering the locals of Diablo is fun in short bursts in a whack-a-mole kind of way. But the world of Diablo 4, with all of its gore and cinematic villains, is a fucking magic pony ride compared to being level 6 and falling into the depths of Blackburrow in EverQuest. In EverQuest, that scenario, you better be twinked, meaning you better have like really high level gear either gifted to you or from one of your old characters. You better be twinked to the fucking gills if you have even a sliver of a chance of escaping the gnolls of Blackburrow. At level 6, yeah, you're dead. Maybe this is a bad example. Hold on a second. Let me try again. New example. In Star Wars The Old Republic, my Sith warrior can take on 7 to 10 enemies that are my level at the same time, and I'm gonna mop the floor with these nerds. I can even make a few mistakes in my rotation and still win the encounter pretty easily. In EverQuest, if you're surrounded by 7 to 10 enemies that are your level, you're gonna die. Unless maybe you're a bard and you're like swarm kiting, then, if you're like running in a big ass circle, or you're quad kiting as a wizard or a druid in a big ass field. But with any of the EverQuest classes, if those 7 to 10 enemies manage to stun you, catch up to you, or you manage to get snagged on the rock of janky bullshit, you're going to die, and quickly. EverQuest can be and is fucking difficult at times, at least for me it is. And for me, I think, well, I don't want to speak for the EQ community. I don't have that kind of power because, like, what do I know, right? For me personally, EverQuest offers that same dopamine rush that I receive in like Dark Souls when defeating a terrible foe. And no, EverQuest is not a Souls-like. It's nothing like fucking Dark Souls. You can't dodge, roll, and break shit, and it can never be a Souls-like. What I mean is the satisfaction of completing a difficult encounter or grinding out an item and the brain burr the game offers when RNG finally unfucks me and the item I want appears in the monster's inventory. The game is easier with friends, groups, and guilds. It by no means makes the game easy. But in a party, you can stop white-knuckling your mouse and relax a bit with, pleasant company and maybe, like, make a friend. Yeah, I white-knuckle my mouse. Fuck you. I don't know if I'm making any sense here, but I absolutely love classic EverQuest and the complexity of the game's nature and how it wants you to play it, not guide you by the pocket from one level to the next. You're dropped off in the world after character creation and you're left to your own devices. You are not the chosen one or have some great developer narrative laid out before you. You're not stuck in a Bethesda cart ride while you spend the first hour of the game trying to escape the ride to drink in the world. Classic EverQuest does not want to hold your Cheeto stained hand. You have fucking cooties. You better figure that shit out for yourself. This can also become a testament to the community of EQ. If you don't know something, yeah, sure, you can give it the old goog. You can goog it up. And you'll usually find what you're looking for. Or you can ask, and more often than not, at least in my experience, and you'll receive an answer. And I have yet to encounter the classic toxic bullshit that appears in the general chat of the modern MMO. Now, I'm not saying that EverQuest is an asshole-free game. I'm sure they're out there, like lurking in the shadows, and they're trying to like train a group of orcs on your mom and teabag your corpse and smother your chat with tails and get good, scrub. But I personally have never encountered such shenanigans. But, hey, it's the internet. Oh, somebody kill me, please! It's the internet. And you, yes, you will find a fucktard if you look hard enough. They're out there, man. Anyway, we're going to take a jaunt away from community for a second because I think I've said my piece. Like, if you don't believe me, okay. I want to talk about questing in EverQuest. And yeah, for being called EverQuest, it sure does hide the fucking quests, my guy. But once you find a quest that you're interested in doing, you have to actually type out responses to, what the NPC is talking about. And the quest givers all have, whatever buzzword in the brackets to indicate to us low IQ heroes to inquire about that specific word or phrase. Does that fucking make sense? Is that English? Whatever. Do you have to engage in this mechanic? No, you do not. You can simply take a peek at the old wiki and track down all of the shit you need for the quest and then go deliver your bag of weird shit to the given NPC. But I like to talk to the machine, all right? And I think it's fun, to get into characters sometimes.
And apparently we contaminated the crime scene because that spell uses a lot of glitter.
In EQ, there is no indication on an NPC that they have any desire to talk to your stupid ass. You as the player have to again choose, your own involvement, and you have to hail a nerd to see if they have any things that need doing. There's also no window pop up reminding you of the thing that they want done. There is no quest log to see where you are in any given step of any quest, and you are forced to rely on your memory.
How about no, Scott? Okay?
Or write that shit down, which, is what I do. Sometimes. There is also no indication as to what reward you will receive for completing the quest. And I know someone listening to what I just said, they said, yeah, fuck that. And that's fine. I'm not saying that it's an amazing system or that other MMOs don't do it better in the quest department. But I like the difficulty of the quests and the grind that is sometimes required to complete them. It's not, an easy mode, glittery path from one shiny thing to the next until the quest is complete. Again, classic EverQuest is not in the mood to hold your gently used palm. And I may be a lunatic, but I love it. This was supposed to be like a short video, so I guess I'm going to shut the fuck up and go back to playing the game. I'm not sure the message I'm trying to convey here. I just wanted to ramble on a bit about classic EverQuest on Project Quarm. And I don't know, show some love to a game that holds a special place in my heart. I think the topic of classic EverQuest, or classic MMOs for that matter, and how they're different from the more modern MMOs and even modern or retail EverQuest is just a cool topic to discuss. Oh, real quick, before I go, to that guy, because there's always one. The guy who says, no, that game looks like shit, and they're talking about the graphics. You're right. I guess as a closing question, does all the quality of life stuff in the modern MMO really make the game better, or are there times when it detracts from fun and can maybe make the game boring? What do you guys think? I want to toss out a special thank you to my channel members, Oracle of Dawn, who's been with me since Twitch, Mox Dragon, brand new to the channel. Thank you so much for fucking, what the fuck is it? What is it? Joining? God damn. Sadoon Dines, my brother, my first friend on Twitch, guys. Sadoon Dines, my man. And my brother Zombie, who I usually have these fucking conversations with. We're going to start a chat series with that fucking nerd. If you like this flavor of conversation, or you're also an EQ fan yourself, be sure to on that subscribe button and, take care of your main character out there, guys. Life is tough sometimes. Goodbye.